So this is going to be a bit of a long one. Zangetsu, the one, the only, the legendary Zanpakuto of the main character Kurosaki Ichigo. Let's make this quick. When Ichigo first becomes a Shinigami, his sealed Zanpakuto was similar in appearance to an oversized replica of Rukia's base Zanpakuto. This early form is very quickly shed away once Ichigo learns his Zanpakuto's name and releases it into its Shikai form. Zangetsu, having no actual release command, has something called a constant release form due to Ichigo's uncontrollable spiritual energy. The shape it maintains is the most iconic rendition of an oversized kyber knife. Dropping the tsuba and with no proper hilt, the sword stands almost as tall as Ichigo himself. In this constant release form, Zangetsu is strong and able to produce powerful bursts of spiritual energy known as Getsuga Tensho, as well as be swung around like a flail using the white cloth that hangs off at the end of the blade. It's also durable enough to block strong attacks and even deflect certain projectiles composed of Ryatsu. This Shikai state does change shape after Ichigo regains his Shinigami powers in the Fullbring arc, but Zangetsu's Bankai is Tensa Zangetsu. When placing the blade in front of the user and releasing a surge of spiritual pressure, Ichigo becomes cloaked in a black robe and the Zanpakuto shrinks down to that of a black Daito, a Japanese longsword. By compressing all of his power into himself and the sword, Ichigo is able to maximize speed and power to the degree of creating after images, or blocking heavy punches from Espada Zero Yami Largo. His Getsuga Tensho's attack power is significantly increased, taking on a sinister black and red color, now able to be manipulated in different ways to reach opponents, such as augmenting his sword swings or bending the Getsuga's path to reach more enemies. This Bankai goes through 3 different transformations. Its initial appearance, where Ichigo's robe represents how much power he has left, and as it gets ripped or discarded, it means he is slowly weakened. There is the after Fullbring version, and then there's the form Ichigo takes when reaching complete equilibrium with Zangetsu and achieving the final Getsuga Tensho. In this form, Tensa Zangetsu is fused with Ichigo's sword arm, the chain wrapped around the length up to his shoulder. What is the final Getsuga Tensho? Well, when using the final Getsuga Tensho, Ichigo becomes Getsuga itself, wrapped in dark bandages and surrounded with black, surging Ryatsu, rocking full black hair to match. This form's one technique is known as Mugetsu, summoning one single blade from all of the spiritual pressure coming off of Ichigo's body. A slash of darkness to blacken the sky is called forth, decimating anything in its path. This was the ability used to reduce the immortal Aizen Sosuke to a weak enough state to later be sealed by Urahara Kisuke. After this Bankai is straight shafted by Jugram Hashwolf, it's revealed this Zangetsu wasn't even a real Zanpakuto, but was simply Ichigo's hollow and Shinigami powers given physical manifestation. When Zangetsu is reforged using an actual Aosachi, Ichigo comes to terms with his Quincy heritage and is now able to wield the true Zangetsu, taking the appearance of 2 separate jet black blades, one the size of his previous Shikai, the other a smaller sword, about the size of Ichigo's arm that resembles a trench knife. The larger blade is meant to represent his inner hollow, while the smaller represents his ties to Yhwach. This brand new Shikai is still a constant release type Zanpakuto, mostly still used for melee. However, his Getsuga Tenshos have significantly grown in attack power, able to create them with just a small flick of the wrist. His larger sword, when used to create a Getsuga, summons a terrifying black crescent moon that was powerful enough to tear a hole even through the soul palace. The user can even fuse 2 Getsuga Tenshos together, becoming the new technique Getsuga Jujisho, a giant cross-shaped shockwave. The true Bankai, still named Tensa Zangetsu, combines the 2 blades into one large kyber knife. However, the main ability is still unknown. Its overall power level can only be inferred, as it was clearly strong enough to make a Soul King empowered Yhwach concerned enough to break it immediately after activation. In the last battle with Yhwach, when Tensa Zangetsu is broken the second time, the outer portion shatters to reveal something that resembles the original Shikai form we started at all the way in the beginning. Zangetsu seems to have remained in this Shikai form, resembling its original kyber knife shape, as shown in the newly released Jaws of Hell chapter. Despite this, it does appear to retain all of its massive power level from its true reforging.